What is going on, guys? It is time to talk about the update. It is nice that they're actually giving us the update stuff that's coming next week early, so prepare people to either do or don't do things. So that is pretty much what this purpose is here. So first thing they're going to be talking about is the awakening effect improvement. So what this is saying is that when you awaken something, you guys normally would have got, if you got effectiveness, effective resistance, crit chance, or crit damage, it was 3 or 6, you know, I guess depending on like if it was earlier or if it was later in the awakening table. So now they're changing to 6 and 12. I think 6 and 12 for this one, 6 to 12. This one crit chance 4 to 8. I feel like that could have been a little bit higher, but they don't want to give too much free crit because then it'll be out the chain, and crit damage as well. This is just to give, because honestly, like when you want, most of the time in my opinion, you want speed, HP, attack, and then maybe even defense if it's a defense scaling unit. But so when you got one of these on there, you know, I never noticed how low it is, because when I awaken a character, I honestly don't care about it. I usually just want to max the awakening out. But it's nice to see that they're going up, because it just makes it more relevant when you do it. Next up is going to be the changes. Oh baby, I read through this. And actually, let me boost this up. I forgot. I'm sorry. I apologize. So you guys can actually see it. I feel like nobody else does this. It's just me. So this is just what I was just talking about, the awakening. You guys can pause if you need to. And this is going to be all the changes. Yeah, we need this full front and center. So first up is going to be Falcon and Chloe, which they are. It looks like this is the only character getting a nerf, because it's the only one they say is available for recall. And if you please. Okay, let me read it first before I give my opinion on it, right? So the S3 is getting changed. The cooldown is getting increased by 1 turn, which is nice. But the bigger thing, in my opinion, is going to be her free extra turn is getting taken away. And instead, it's going to be that she's going to get 50% combat readiness, which is not obviously an extra turn, but it's giving close to extra turn. And they're also lowering the chance for it to proc. Now, I hate extra turn mechanics unless it's like if you use a soul burn or something, you have to, you know, sacrifice something for it. That's why I don't like RNL. It throws off the mechanic of the game. It's something that I've seen in also Summoner's War. I just do not like when a character can pretty much randomly get another turn and that affects the game. Now, it's funny that they nerf both, because I feel like the biggest issue with the cooldown of this was the fact that she would get an extra turn and then all of a sudden she's using her S3 again, and her S3 is not an attack. So the biggest problem with the S3 is that it can pretty much be used on any character, especially if you're using it yourself, but especially in arena, it will lock down any water target, because she's going to target water, and you know, they can't, it's very hard for them to break out of it unless they have resistance or they have immunity. No, actually no, the immunity is irrelevant. It just dispels everything. And as you can see, at max it will be 100%, and most people, if they wanted to invest in this character, probably have it at max, so it's very hard to resist it unless you have high resistance. So I feel like this change would have been enough, in my opinion. Leaving it at 4 turns, I think that would have been fine, but raising it up also means that you just won't have it chained over and over and over again, and that's kind of what I've been dealing with when I fight against it. And I only have one fast character. I'm working on my other characters, but I think this change is fine. It doesn't break the character. So to even, guys, please do not recall your your Falcon or Chloe because of this change. It is not that significant. Getting an extra turn is something that was a very nice to have. You have to admit that. I would have to say this is a nice to have thing. It's not something that was pivotal to the character. She still does her job. Go first, disable and provoke a character. Defense break would be nice, but most of the time you usually want the strip and the provoke. Defense break, you know, is usually if you're trying to nuke a target, but that's the biggest thing. Take the buffs off and provoke. They didn't change that at all. So please don't recall her. That's just my opinion. This is not significant. If they would have took her, like I was saying in my Discord, if they would have take this and brought it down to like 50% or something like that, at max 50% or like max 75, that would have been harsh. That would have really ruined the character. But she still does her job, and you know, that's pretty much it. And I think everything else outside of here is going to be buffs. Specimen says it's going to have a higher stun rate, which is insane. His S2 is being changed, that now instead of getting combat readiness, sorry, not instead, including getting combat readiness, he's also going to have a chance to AoE stun for 30%. So he is going to become a stun machine. So this is good, obviously. 30% chance. It seems that this is not going up though. Or else I feel like they would have notated that somewhere. So it's 30% chance to stun all targets, and he'll get 50%. So if he stuns a slowish target or a target that just went, he will be able to follow up with the S3, which is also being changed because why not? They need to. And Showtime Doctor was also speaking about this, and I kind of agree that a lot of the Moonlight characters are kind of ass. They're cool, but they're very niche, and for a game, until they do some of the other changes, which we'll go through later, it's very hard to invest into some of these characters. They're very rare, they're luxury, but in a game where you need to progress a lot before you can enjoy luxury, and that's exactly the problem. You were to make Specimen Says he seems too PvP oriented with all the stuns and things of that nature. I mean, he does work against certain bosses in, maybe in Abyss or the raid, where he can stun the fodder, but outside of that, you're not stunning bosses. So so he was just, character like this wouldn't have any effect, but at least, they're making it better as a PvP monster, a hero, and, at least people that got him. Look at this. Attacks with enemy line resets the cooldown of the S3 if he kills somebody with it, and if it stuns, he penetrates. So he can literally, kill, S1 or S2, get a turn again, S3, keeps it, then possibly could S1 again. And then, like, he's just better. Obviously, just a little bit better. Spectre Tenebria, or Tenebria, whatever you want to say, her poison blast damage is increasing, which is nice because, I mean, as a poisoner, that's pretty much her main job. And attacks with an explosion of poison with a 50% chance, now 70% chance at max, to inflict poison for 2 turns. And it's just this damage is going up. If you guys don't know, oh, okay, here it is. If the enemy has a debuff, she actually hits 2 enemies instead of 1, which is obviously good. Damage dealt by poison enemy is decreased, which is obviously good. Allows her to stay alive. Now, after this, caster cannot be targeted if ally heroes remain. Every time someone is defeated, the caster's attack defense will increase by 7%, max 10%, stacks up to 5 times. Oh, okay, I was a little confused by that, sorry. So you can, every time someone is defeated, she will get a 7% boost. If you level it up constantly, you will get a, it will be 10%. If you level it like Molagora, it will be 10%. So this will be 50% buff to your attack and defense if 5 characters die. This is obviously to improve her ability to PvE, which is where you usually use her anyway. But not that bad if you're thinking arena. That's 3 other characters. Obviously, when 4 are dead, the match is over. So if you go by 3 characters, that's 15% boost to 30% boost. My mathematicals. 30% boost, 21% if you leave it alone, which isn't that bad. The problem that I have is that I kind of liked this because it kind of helped in raid a little bit to pretty much, multiple poison targets, kind of stack it up. And her S3 also was a little bit better with that, especially with extra turns. Her soul burn is not changed, so that's pretty good. So yeah, so instead of poison enemies deal less damage, which is actually really good, like damage dealt. I actually don't know if this was like to your allies as well. So as long as she poisoned characters, your allies took less damage, or it might have just been her. And this is probably why they changed it, that this only affects her. So yeah, so there we go. Skill enhancement effects have been changed. Yeah, see, lower density, now it changes to just boosting the stats overall, which is why they say it goes up to 10%. Alright, and here's her S3 also changing. Let's just go down to here. Attacks with a Nightmare Crystal, stuns the enemy for 1 turn. Woo, nice. Decreases the combat readiness of all remaining allies by 50% if the enemy is defeated. Damage dealt increases proportional to the number of debuffs inflicted on the enemy. So pretty much they changed it that she stuns. That's pretty much the additional now. She will stun the target, which is, it's kind of giving her a failsafe if it doesn't kill, because it's obviously meant to kill for the other effect, but now she has a now she has a win-win condition. If she stuns, if they're alive, it will stun. It has no chance, so they just have to pass the resistance check. If they die, then it will lower everyone's combat readiness. So win-win situation for your lovely Moonlight character. And we have another one, Accelerate Alerts. Black magic, attacks with a spear, increases the combat readiness by 15% before increase the attack, which is really useless. This is a change based on how people use the character. Absolutely, because this was, you know, this is cute, but everyone uses him as like a speed, silence, and then get his turn so he can keep doing, you know, what people are using him for. This is actually a change. Like, oh, we should change how he's actually how he worked before. Let's see how they change this one. So it seems that the increased attack and combat readiness is staying the same, but before increasing the caster's attack for 2 turns and combat readiness, again giving him extra turns. Now he can give someone else an attack plus combat readiness, but he also will get attack and combat readiness. Pretty cool. So now we're going into his S3, which is the thing that silences. It's now a 2-turn silence. That is nuts. 2-turn silence is nuts. Really crazy, because remember, like I said, they are building him fast. They want him to go first, so he's gonna go first. 2 turns, your characters, the enemy team, cannot use their buffs, and most of the time, if I'm not mistaken, bosses usually are affected by silence unless specifically noted otherwise. So it's crazy that you can not have a character or a boss not do their ultimate even though they're ready to do it for 2 turns. That makes this character amazing. Makes me actually want it, and he's 4-star too, so you have a higher chance of actually getting him. Kitty Clarissa, very underwhelming, but let's see what they do. Let's see what they did. I thought she was light. Wasn't she light? Whatever. So here we go. Attacks all enemies with the Morning Star while raging with a 60% chance to make them unhealable for 2 turns. That seems to be the same. If caster is granted loveliness, effect chances up by 20%, which if you've maxed it out, it was 100. Now it is attack all enemies with chance to decrease buff duration by 2 turns. So it makes her a more viable searcher and make them, so they just added that in. A lot of these buffs are just like smack that in there. So now they have a chance to pretty much make her a stripper. I always feel weird when I'm talking about a female character. Oh, now that she's a stripper. But it makes her more viable as a stripper. It makes her more viable as a support, as she's supposed to be. Alright, so cooldowns. Cooldowns pretty much going down. That's all that is. Going down to 1 turn, now 4 turns if you max it out. Assassin Seed. Swift action effect will be changed. When an enemy is defeated, increases the caster's combat readiness by 15%. Max 30% when you max it out. Increases the attack for 1 turn. Can be activated once per turn, but that shouldn't be a problem because you should be fast on this character. Plus, with that buff. So now, before it was speed, he got speed, I think, and now they're changing it to combat readiness. But this was like weird to read anyway. When an enemy is being targeted, the enemy with the least amount of health, and then gives him speed. Like, it was weird if you didn't know the numbers behind it, so it was just really weird. But this was, you know, I don't know, I felt like this was kind of strong, getting a speed boost, a 30% speed boost. But I guess maybe this is better. I'd give him just an attack buff, which is a lot of attack, we all know that, and combat readiness to get the turn. So I guess that is technically better. Alright, Execution, which I think is the S3 if I'm not mistaken, attacks the enemy with the power of silencing. No, this is not the S3. No, it has to be because he only has 2 moves. Yeah, proportionate to the caster's speed, and then after awakening, proportionate to the caster and enemy speed. So what did they change? Oh, there's more combat readiness. Oh no, they decreases more combat readiness. I apologize. He decreases the combat readiness more than he did before, but everything else is the same. Gotcha. Tywin is getting a buff. Pretty much his attack, attack, defense, and defense will increase. You can pretty much do 100%. Now you can more guarantee the defense break, which is nice, and it is proportionate to his HP. Great. You know, as I love the HP characters, if you guys didn't know that, and I love this one especially, Cecilia. Her provoke is getting the same pretty much thing. Now she has a 100% possibility to have 100% provoke chance across the board, and of course guaranteeing a barrier and all that good stuff. Same thing as before, but now she has a 100% chance to get the barrier, which is a nice change for S3 and a Nat 5 character. And then we have Besar. Now Besar is just getting his thing lowered because, I mean, I wish I had him. He's such a great, like the same thing they did with Tenebria, Spectre Tenebria. He has a, you know, 50-50. Either you dispel buffs or you make them unable to buff. So it doesn't matter which, you know, if they have the buff, they'll lose the buff. If they didn't go and even try to put the buff, now they can't put buff. So beautiful, beautiful character. If you guys don't like Besar, you're ridiculous, especially if you're a PvE head. It's a really, really good character. Zaratu. Ice Pick has been changed. Now, damage dealt is better if the character's debuffed, but now he's going to get 50% combat readiness once he actually uses the move. So that's pretty good, obviously. So you can, I think the point was to, you know, S3, stun them, and then S2. I guess that was the point of that, you know, or maybe no, because the S2, whatever, because they have to be debuffed first. He only has a debuff on his S1 and S3, and as you can see, the S2 is just it's like a nuke. So like I guess it's just a nice to have. Doesn't really change too much. And the cooldown of his S3 has gone down. I would have loved this if his this chance went up. That's the reason why I don't use him, because a 50-50 to stun just is a little underwhelming. I mean, he's an at 4. Maybe they don't want to give him a 75, or like Aramitha, Silverblade Aramitha. Her stun chances, there is none. It's just it will stun if you don't pass the resistance check. So that's huge. It's a crazy thing. But 50% is just, I know it's a coin flip, but I feel like investing into a character, I want more guaranteeds. Silk, the old school Silk, the OG Silk. I mean, a lot of people use Silk. The only change that they're making is that instead of her losing 2 focus, it's only 1, which is great, because it was kind of annoying that you hit her like once and it was just like she was pretty much useless. What's great that that's a change. They're also changing her S3, that now she has a higher chance to reduce the speed, which I guess you would love. I mean, I would just want the damage. 80% or up to 95% is great, but I guess, hey, if it goes up to 100, you're still happy. But I would have liked to see like maybe a change that maybe she like hits multiple targets when she's using auto fire. Like she maybe spreads, kind of like Spectre Tenebrious, it spreads. I would have preferred something like that, like she just starts plucking out, or maybe she has a chance to get an extra turn. And I'm just kidding, I hate extra turns, but maybe she gets combat readiness when she's in auto fire because she's just feeling it. I don't know. I would have preferred something different than that. Crozet, the Night Ice, Night Ice. All right, so pretty much he's actually a decent character. I fodder him all the time. I could still get another one from the connections, but now instead, pretty much anytime a character lost 50% health, he would give him a shield, but now he also gives them a defense buff. So that's pretty good, and can be activated once every 2 turns. Pretty good. It's a good change if you invest into him. If you like them, that's just great. I have never seen anyone really do it. So it is nice that if you did do that. And I mean, this passive is great because it just gives him a barrier scaling off. See, that's why I didn't like it. Scales off the target's max HP. I hate that. If I have an HP unit, I want their skills to be scaling off theirs. So if I give this, you know, give their HP to a squishy DPS, which is most likely where it's gonna go, it's not gonna be a strong shield. But at least they get a defense buff now. So yeah. Molagora improvements needed for skill enhance to improve the Molagora exchange. This is funny. Look at them. They try to like put it in white too. Why did they go for the 1-to-4 exchange rate? When we know most people, especially myself, had to definitely do the 5 return. The numbers would have been too high and too staggering. As I showed in my last video, it was like 34 or something like that. I think when you calculate it by 5 to level up Tam's S2, it was insane, and that was one move. And now they're showing like, oh, you know, now it's like, oh, it's a little bit like, this is insane. And this is what a lot of people have been saying. I feel like it's insane that this is how much it would take. This is too grindy. Now this is going down a little bit. This is, what is that, going down by 13? This one's going down by 20. Wait, no, math. What is that? No, 17. Woo, math. And this one's going down by 20. So now I guess grade, I'm assuming that means the star, like Nat 5 and Nat 4 and Nat 3. So, and this was still a thing too, is that it was so much easier to level and do a Nat 3, and it still is. But at least now it's like, this is pretty much as easy as it was for a Nat 3 in the past. Also, they're changing that you will always be able to trade for 4. And this is another reason. Let me be nice, right? This is why they show the 1 to 4, because now there will be no 1 to 5. Excess Molagoras are used compared to the new thing. And this is amazing. Excess Molagoragos will be returned as Molagoras at the exchange rate of 1.5. So until the next week comes, I mean, if you're able to go to Hoochie and trade a Molagora for 4, all right, I have to fix my own mistake. So I actually released the video, and now I'm coming back because I reread this and I was like, oh crap, this is actually not how it works. So it actually works that any Molagoragos that you have used so far will be returned to you of the excess. So if something cost 5 Molagoras, actually let me just show you guys in game, because it's gonna make more sense for me that I show you in game than anything. So here we go. So Molagora, like to get my last upgrade of Ken's thing, it costs 3 Molagoras. So in the update, it might cost 1. So they will give me 2 Molagoras worth of the actual they'll give me 2 Molagoragos worth of Molagora, which is at worst 5 each. So they would give me 10 back, is what they were saying. I actually misread it when I first read it. I thought that when they said that they were going to excess Molagoras will be returned as Molagoras at an exchange rate of 1.5. Now I do not know that it doesn't mean that the Molagoras that you currently have will be changed that way. That's what I was saying in my original video, but just to be certain, I know people will hang me on a roof, off a roof, I guess that makes more sense, if I were to mislead people like that to hold on to the Molagoras. At the moment, with the way that this says, excess Molagoras used compared to the new decreased requirements will be returned together with gold to the player's in-game mailbox. So used, this is the big word right here. Actually, I'm sorry, I need to bump this up again. Oh no, you guys should be able to see it from there. Sorry, it's whatever, 200% used. So I was saying before to just keep them in your inventory, but it seems that the Molagoragos, if you just keep them, nothing's gonna happen. If they have anything, maybe they'll reset all of them, and then you'll just get 5 for each one that you have, and then you just go exchange them all again, which is a good thing, but it doesn't necessarily say it's going to do that. But it is talking about the excess used already. So in that example, you will get 4 back for each one that each excess one that is used. I hope that makes sense, because I was kind of messed up in my head when I was saying it, and I don't want to put out misinformation. So I'm gonna plug this into the video. I don't know where, but when I start talking about that, I'm gonna cut that out, put this back out, and I hope you guys appreciate the delay of me getting this out to make sure that the information is correct. So still go find Hoochie. Still go find Hoochie if you can find it, but immediately use the Molagorago as fast as possible, if possible. If you can use it on something, use it, because you should get it back in some way, shape, or form. But it's morely gonna affect stuff like this, the ones that cost 3. Like for me, it would be great if I can magically produce 3 of these and then use it, but it's gonna be hard for anyone to really, you know, be able to randomly use a Molagorago unless they're like deep down in their thing, you know, where you can actually affect a Molagorago. See, I can't even affect it on any of these. Can I get it affected here? Nope. See. So you could already see it's pretty hard to use it, but if there's any, you know, if there's a possibility to use it, just try to go use it as quick as possible. That's all I was trying to say. Dang it. Here we go. See, here I could do it. So for here, if this goes down, like maybe if they want to change this to 1, I'll get 5 back Molagoras for that. So if you find Hoochie, get it for 4, I'd end up with 1 plus Molagora for my efforts. That's all that is, guys. That's all it is. They're not going to reverse your skill enhancements. So this is my goal, I guess, to get 1 Molagorago, get this enhanced, and then I'll get, you know, 5 back if they decide that this will only cost 1, XYZ. If they decide that, you know, they might obviously decide not to do that. But yeah, that's it. Back to the regular video. Arena Season 2. Hello. I don't think this really needs to be going over. Really, it's kind of like, it kind of makes sense. Yeah, Hall of Flame, we're not seeing that. The Hall of Whales, that's where that's going to be. They're going to have a new currency. The shop is going in, another unknown slate. I'm just going to be giving that to Ken because I just love Ken. I decided to give my first unknown slate to Ken because He's my best character, and he's the one I have the most enjoyment with. So I will boost up my crappy teammates that I keep putting with him, because he's just the best thing I have. And it's HP percent, so it's actually pretty good memory imprint to get to other characters. No wasted stats there. Powder of Knowledge shop list update. Now we're switching it out. We're gonna get the Sigurd Scythe, which I know a lot of people want. Ritual Sword, which is really good, but Rihanna is probably the best thing here. It's, as I was speaking with the extra turn stuff, it's just really crappy, but you can't deny how good it is. Celestine is really good, and I actually almost want to maybe go out for that. And I'm gonna ask you guys in the comments if you could please. Now right now I can't get 180. I don't have 180. I'm really close to it. I'd have to summon a lot and get a lot of artifacts when I summon in order to get up to 180. Now, should I try to do that and get Rod of Amaris, or just settle for one of these, which I know within the next, when the next week comes, I can definitely get through. I have 1, 2. I don't have these 2. I can also just wait and get like 2 or 3 Rose Hagnas and then finish it out, because I do like Rose Hagna a lot. But damn, Celestine is so good. And so is Rihanna. You know, RNL is just really, really good. But I don't know what to do. I'm still debating on it, on what to do. I mean, I have until the 27th to make a decision, and that's really it. Oh yeah, and they fixed this artifact that I've never seen anyone use. But yeah, at least it's working properly. So what do you guys think about these updates? How do you like that they gave you a heads up? Because let's say right now, if you've been buying, like I said, if you've been buying Molagora for four, and then you use the Molagora, you kind of screwed yourself, right? You kind of screwed yourself a little there. And you know, but if you've been buying it for 5, nothing really happens. But if you can get a Molagora for 4, that's nice that they tell you that in advance, because this would have caused an uproar. So I'm happy that they said this a week before. I feel like they could have even said it earlier, like in the beginning of the month, if they had known that this was going to be a thing. You know, just in case, but I never see Hoochie. Like, it's very rare that you see Hoochie, and he also has the goods. So, and you know, another change is, I'm happy that as far as they said that they're nerfing balancing, and then the only one that they did do was just Chloe, and they didn't really destroy her. And I'll say that again, please do not recall her. It is not worth it. She is perfectly fine. She's doing the same job that she's always done. She'll still get she'll get more turns, but she will just not get a guaranteed extra turn if the trust room procs. It's not that big of a deal, guys. It's just not. Just definitely not worth it. If anything, well, actually no, the proc rate is lower, right? So I was gonna say, if anything, this is more likely to happen, but they could have actually gave it that this was like 20%, maybe. But you know, 50% combat readiness, you'll still get a lot of turns. So 10% it's really low. But hey, I see RNL procs, and I think RNL is 10%, right, on base. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I explained everything goodly enough. If there was something I missed or mispronounced or whatever the hell, you can always let me know in the comments. But that's gonna be about it. Woo! This game is always changing for the better. The better. Gotta love it. Everyone,